Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
This is Jack O'Neill, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Jordan Kitchens.
Short, 20-footer, head of the key, good!
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Yep.
What day is it, Mike?
NCAA's kicking out the old people.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Agists.
Hump day.
Will Guillory was here in hour 1.
It's hump day.
Talked a little bit about the NBA draft.
Hump day.
Pels, they knew nothing.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Sat there on their hands.
It's hump day.
Didn't pick nobody.
Hump day.
Didn't trade nobody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Didn't talk to nobody.
Hump day.
Didn't fire nobody.
It's hump day.
Same today as they were yesterday.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Sorry-ass 26-win basketball team.
Hump day.
But today's a new day.
It's hump day.
We'll talk about day 2 of the draft coming up here in about 30 minutes.
Hump day.
Ross Dellenger in 15 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
He'll talk about college stuff.
It's hump day.
Zach Von Rosenberg was here last hour.
Hump day.
He's one of the old guys that played college football.
It's hump day.
He was 30 when he finished.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And he says he likes the new rule.
It's hump day.
Glad it worked out for him.
Hump day.
But glad now that there aren't going to be 30-year-olds in college sports.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Brian Kelly's calling games for CBS.
It's hump day.
Mountain West games.
Hump day.
Incidentally, remember the Mountain West is now a new Mountain West.
It's hump day.
All those old Mountain West teams have moved into the Pac-12.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Mountain West is really going to stink.
Hump day.
Brian Kelly at 64 years old is going to be calling Mountain West games.
It's hump day.
I don't even know who's in the Mountain West.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Looking it up right now.
Hump day.
Let's see.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I thought Boise was going to the... No, that was last year. Hang on.
It's hump day.
I thought Boise was going to the... let's see. Hold on. New Mountain West. All those teams are going to the Pac-12. Hang on. New Mountain West for you. All right, then you can kill that. Thank you. Okay, here it is. The new Mountain West will be Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico State, San Jose State, UNLV, UTEP, and Wyoming. And then affiliate members for football only are Northern Illinois and North Dakota State. That's your new Mountain West. But Brian Kelly calling it an Air Force North Dakota State game in October.
Just going to sleep. Just any type of midnight going to sleep.
Nah, man. Why you say that?
Brian Kelly on the call? Come on, man. That's a snooze fest right there.
Why would you say that?
I mean, you interview Brian Kelly a lot.
Yeah, he's a great communicator.
I mean, he can communicate.
No, he was a fantastic interview.
When I hear Brian Kelly talk, it doesn't really excite me to watch football, especially
a guy that is the winningest active coach in football, went to a two 14 playoffs, a BCS championship game, won 2 national championships in Division II, coached at Notre Dame, LSU, Cincinnati, then in Division II. His Midwest ties, East Coast ties, coached in the SEC as well, and is a great communicator. Yeah, you're right, Jordan. Great. I'm sure he's going to be terrible on TV. Jordan, turn off your mic. What are you talking about?
Hey, man.
What are you talking about?
Hey.
All right, it's after further review. we are looking at, however, when Shea Dixon was with us on Tuesday, the way he said it was, it's commit season. All the official visits throughout June are gone, going into a dead period. And this is the time when you get around the 4th of July and before prospects start their senior years, when you start to see commits roll in. Interestingly, our buddy Sam Spiegelman over at Rivals has put in an RPM forecast for LSU to flip 4-star safety Greedy James, who is currently committed to Texas. So we've talked about Greedy James a good bit. He's got Louisiana ties. His family, he still has family in South Louisiana, but he's in Texas at Manville. He's committed to the University of Texas. He's a 4-star, number 318 nationally, the 27th best safety. So when you look at safety this year, of course, LSU returns to Marcus Cooley. They brought in Ty Benefield. They added Fahim Delane from Ohio State, Mansour's brother. And then you got some really talented young guys like Aiden Hall who will grow. But Greedy James could be a big part of this class for the future of the safety position if they're able to get him. The thing that's worth mentioning over and over and over again that we talk about is, and I had a conversation today with, let's say someone who writes a lot of checks to help LSU athletics, that it was sort of a detailed conversation underscoring the approach, which is to say this staff is eyeing dollar spends on top-tier guys and filling the class with guys that are not going to cost them money. So Greedy James, a 4-star safety, and they like him a lot, but again, you're talking about a lot of guys when we talk about the commitments in this class, and James is not flipped yet, but guys that are ranked in like the 300 range and lower. When you're talking about like top 100, top 150 guys, it's probably going to cost you money to get those guys on campus. But when you talk about a 3-star running back like Brendan Lacey, who's ranked in the 600s or mid 500s, like that's not going to cost you money. You're betting on the come with a guy like that. Get him here, let him grow, develop, see if he fits. Not going to cost you anything. You hope he stays, good character guy, but if he leaves, it doesn't cost you anything financially. The guys that they are really targeting, as I understand, we talked about Anthony Sweeney a day ago with Shea, and he's the 5-star edge who's committed to Texas Tech and took an OV to LSU this past weekend. LSU, as I understand it, has their financial resources at that position, for their cap at that position, already tied up in KJ Green and Chris Whitehead. They've got their guys. Flipping Anthony Sweeney doesn't really feel realistic. You keep those lines of communication open because you never say never, but that one doesn't feel like a real priority because you have so much financial resource already committed in KJ Green and Chris Whitehead, 2 5-star edge rushers. The 2 players remaining, as I understand it, that LSU is working really hard and willing to commit the financial resources to flipping are Easton Royal and Jalen Brewster. Royal is a guy we've talked about plenty, and you know, he's from Brother Martin in New Orleans. He's been committed to Texas, and shortly after Lane Kiffin took the LSU job, 5'11", 200 pounds. In the composite, he's a 5-star, the number 6 player in the country, the number 1 receiver. So you have a top receiver in the country, sprinter speed, super explosive, right down the street at Brother Martin in New Orleans. You had him on campus for an OV. He's down to Texas, LSU, and Florida. He's committed to Florida. Can you get him to flip? This is one of the guys they are willing to invest money in. That probably doesn't come as a surprise, but when you look at the 4 receivers they already have committed, the only other sort of highly ranked guy is Braylon Calais from Cecilia. They'll spend some money on Calais. They will certainly spend to get Easton Royal here, which is a little bit of a deviation from what Kiffin said about the receiver position during spring when he talked about not wanting to spend your entire cap at the position on one guy. Perhaps that's it. And I do not have a dollar amount, by the way. I do not have a dollar amount on Easton Royal. But I would assume that it's different than what it would have cost to get Cam Coleman, say, from Auburn last year, who landed at Texas. You'll spend, but you're not spending your entire receiver budget on one player. The other is Jalen Brewster. And Brewster is a guy who, as I understand it, they are pushing very hard to flip. Now, the staff seems to believe they have a shot to do it. And you're in deep water, though, going against Texas Tech. And Cody Campbell, a billionaire who clearly has shown a willingness to write checks. And I would guess after losing the Brendan Sorsby battle over his eligibility, he's probably pissed off and going to throw even more money at the problem. But We saw Jalen Brewster on LSU's campus for his OV at the beginning of official visit season. He's the one that Ed Ogeron, there was the video of Ed Ogeron working on the defensive line drills with Brewster. 6'3", 300 pounds, and he is a giant human. He is the number one player in the country, regardless of position. Remember, in this most recent class, you got the number one player in the country in Lamar Brown, a defensive lineman. Here you go again with Brewster, a defensive lineman who's the number one player in the country that LSU is getting in the mix for. And they are working very hard to flip him, and that's, as I understand it, where they are willing, the staff is willing to invest their financial resources to flip those two prospects, Brewster and Easton Royal. So keep an eye on those two. I'm not saying it's the only two ads they're going to have. They're going to add more members of the class. Again, Sam Spiegelman, who's as good nationally as there is projecting Greedy James to flip from Texas to LSU. We'll see if that happens. But when you're talking about the top-tier guys, the guys that they're going to spend, are willing to spend on, it's those two guys, and it's obviously positions that we've discussed, where there's a rotation and where guys can step on campus immediately and be impact guys. No different than spending on Richard Anderson in this most recent class, or the top tier guys at that position. I mentioned Lamar Brown. So keep an eye as we move through this sort of commit or flip season on those two guys in particular. Yes, Greedy James, but the two big-time prospects, Easton Royal, Jalen Brewster, I'm told those are the two really big-time prospects that they're targeting for flips. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Right about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. Love telling you about Arco Power Systems. What an amazing business that just does performs at such a worthwhile service. And it really comes to light in the face of a natural disaster. When storms come and power's out and an area can be devastated, Arco has a lot of their crews that are, it's fascinating to hear the stories about how the National Guard will take Arco crew members on Blackhawks and into disaster zones and recovery zones to go work on generators, get power back onto these generators. So it's Arco Power Systems, ARCCO. This is industrial generator power for your business. ARCCO. Power goes out. What do you do for your business? You need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Day 2 of the NBA draft is today. It resumes tonight. Pelicans have the 58th pick. We'll get into some of what the mock drafts have the Pels doing at 58 here in about 15 minutes. When we come back, Ross Dellenger will be with us. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark in the Renaissance. Watermark downtown Renaissance, Southtown. Of course, Renaissance is Baton Rouge's sprawling event center hotel right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. They got a little bit of everything over at Renaissance Baton Rouge. And chances are, if you live in Baton Rouge, you've been to an event at Renaissance Baton Rouge, whether it's a fundraiser, an awards banquet, some type of gala. They do so many types of conferences there at Renaissance Baton Rouge. Catering options are available for whatever you're trying to host. The Grand Ballroom can host up to 500 people. So really a great spot for an event. So if you're thinking of hosting an event here in the remainder of 26, or you're starting to plan for 2027, call my friend Allison Crump over at Renaissance Baton Rouge. I love what she says. We're in the business of saying yes. They will manipulate their space to fit whatever type of event and accommodate whatever event you have. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge. Right there on Bluebonnet. Check them out. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Well, when there's no games happening, it's typically when you see or hear rule changes, and they're coming fast and furious. We have learned about the new 5 to play 5, but as Ross Dellenger is literally tweeting 10 minutes ago, some of the changes to future college football scheduling. Ross, good enough to join us here on the show. Hey, man, thanks as always. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Okay, what's the latest on football scheduling?
Yeah. Well, starting in 2027, schools can now play on week 0. So previously, you needed a waiver to play on week 0, and only about there only were about 6, 8, 10 games on week 0. And the waiver usually was only granted, for teams that played Hawaii. They got a chance to have a game on week 0 and then an additional bye week. It was kind of like an incentive to go out to Hawaii. But now anybody can start on week 0 beginning in 2027.
Do you read into that? Because there's a lot of talk about with an expanded playoff, moving the season up to week 0 so then you could begin the playoff the first Saturday in December. Like, am I reading too much into that, or does that feel like it's laying the groundwork for that?
Maybe. There's a lot of complications around an expanded playoff in how, a 2014 playoff or something would play into the December calendar. I think mainly coaches want another bye week.
Okay.
A lot of coaches at least want another bye week. So like to shift everything up, right? You would move. The big issue is you would have to move all the rivalry weekend off of Thanksgiving weekend. That is not something that a lot of the schools want to do, for one, but it's also not something at all that the television networks want to do. And so that's been sort of the big hurdle when it comes to sort of shifting up the whole season. Maybe it'll happen eventually, but probably not anytime soon.
All right. Let's talk about the age-based eligibility rule change. And here, Ross, I think the biggest question everybody has is, okay, well, Will Wade's got this basketball roster that he's recruiting, and all these dudes are old. Are they going to be able to play? So, Ross, Will Wade's got this basketball roster he's recruiting. All these dudes are old. Are they going to be able to play?
Well, I think it'll be up to the NCAA Eligibility Center and granting waivers, because I believe most of the players, or a lot of the players on LSU's team, played professionally at some point and are over the age of 23 or so, or at the age of 23. And so there's a good chance that they would need waivers from the NCAA to play. I can tell you, Matt, the NCAA would determine who gets a waiver, who doesn't, based a lot on the new eligibility rule, which is a 5-year rule that basically starts at your 19th, the academic year after your 19th birthday. So basically August 1 after your 19th birthday. Or it starts when you enroll in college, but you only get, so it's whatever comes first, right? Whatever comes first. So a lot of these, what I'm saying is, it gets complicated, but what I'm saying is a lot of these players, right, they would have already exhausted their eligibility, or they'd have just 1 or 2 years left based on their 19th birthday, 5 years from their 19th birthday. So they would need a waiver, number one, to play potentially if they played professionally. And number two, they'd only probably have 1 or 2 years of eligibility left. But again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, the NCAA will base the waivers on the current, probably the new eligibility rule. And so I'll be curious if these players get a waiver, especially those that are 24 and up. And if they don't get a waiver and they get a waiver denied, Matt, we all know what happens next, right? There's probably a lawsuit and probably a court hearing, an injunction hearing in or around Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I think there's one, if I'm not mistaken, Ross. It's Yamadar, who's 20. He's 24. He'll be 25. I believe in December. Everyone else would be 23 or younger. So maybe he'd be the only, and he has a military service background in Israel, and they think they'll get that waiver for that. So it'll be fascinating to see. But effectively, what this means? No, please, yeah.
Play professionally?
I'm sorry.
Did the other players who aren't as old as he is, did they play professionally and get paid overseas?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm accurate here, but I think they would need to be approved. I think they would need to get a waiver because they play professionally, and maybe they will get it. Maybe they will get it. But if they don't, and you have to file those waivers by July 1. So they have 1 week to file all those waivers.
I have a feeling Will Wade probably has his his I's dotted and his T's crossed about getting these waived. Feels like he's probably had this in the queue for a quick minute. Ross, why the approval to go to the 5 to play 5 when we have seen, exceptions and worthy cases over the years of some older players playing college athletics?
Well, I think this has been talked about for a long time. 20 years this has been talked about. And it was talked about then as 5-4-5, right? Enroll at any point in college and you get 5 years to play 5 seasons. This is really not a 5-for-5. It's an age-based sort of rule, but it is a 5-year age-based rule. And I think it's just sort of intended to simplify things, Matt, and sort of intended to align, right, with sort of the current state of things when it comes to this congressional bill. It aligns with the congressional bill, for instance. So I think that you're just seeing more of an alignment and a simplification in the rule. And then the big things are no waivers and no more red shirts, right? Mm-hmm. So those are key in all of this because the waiver system has really gotten the NCAA into legal trouble.
Ross Dellenger's with us, Yahoo, at Ross Dellenger, if you want to give him a follow. There's 2 other things that you've been reporting on today I'm curious about. One is the new CSC policy, which I guess is making it a little more lenient. Tell me if I'm wrong here, to get these NIL deals approved through the CSC?
Basically, yeah. Basically, what's happened is, Matt, there are, I'm trying to put this in, because this gets complicated too. So everybody listening hopefully knows that, schools have an ability to pay directly to athletes up to roughly $20.5 million this past year. And that's school money that goes to the athletes. It's basically a salary. But in addition to that, obviously, you have all the NIL deals, right? The outside the cap, above the cap deals. Well, a lot of these above the cap deals have been promised to athletes and guaranteed to them are not clearing the system because, and you'll be shocked to know, Matt, a lot of them are sort of on the phony side.
Oh.
They're not real, right? They're arranged by the school, and it's a money laundering or money washing setup. And that's not my words. That's the words of many athletic directors of what's going on right now. And so this money's not clearing the system. Well, Matt, the money's got to clear the system because the athletes have been guaranteed the money. And so the CSC is sort of relaxing some of its restrictions with the intent that some of this money can get through the system. Now, part of this is just a natural evolution of the system. There's just been a lot of deals into the system, and the way they determine if these NIL deals are real or fake is 2 ways, Matt. And they have to. It's a 2-step process. One, does the entity doing the deal with the athlete have a valid business purpose? Okay, and number 2. Does the deal, the value of the deal, the money, the amount of money that's being paid, is it similar to other non-athletes that have been paid through this entity, right? And so you can see where that latter step would be an issue, right? Because a lot of non-athletes haven't been paid at all by this entity, right? Because they're just a money laundering thing. What's happened is the CSC is taking all the deals that have been put in the system over the last year and updating its the second step there. And so that is allowing the scope to expand to include a lot of these deals. But basically, in short, Matt, they're just relaxing the rules to get the money through so players don't boycott.
Awesome.
Things are going well.
Okay, last thing. You have a piece up today at Yahoo about conference realignment and how the new Senate bill, the Protect College Sports Act, or whatever they're calling it, might end conference realignment once and for all. Please explain.
Yeah, the Senate bill, the Protect College Sports Act, has a provision in there that prohibits any conference making $700 million or more in revenue, which includes the 4 power conferences, from expanding, from adding any new members. And that's to prohibit sort of what we saw happen to the Pac-12. There's a lot of folks, including the senators who wrote the bill, and have been on the record with this, it's in my story, fear that the same thing or a similar thing will happen to the ACC that would happen to the Pac-12. And so to prevent that, they put in this bill a provision that prohibits all power leagues basically from adding new members. But there's some sort of issues, you might say, with this. It prevents any Group of 6 program then from being added and moving up and being promoted. It also, of course, prevents any ACC or Big 12 school from being promoted up to the Big 10 or SEC. I can tell you that this probably is going to change, this provision. There's enough pushback on it, and a lot of schools are calling their local lawmakers and kind of griping about it. So I'm assuming before this bill goes to the Senate floor, this provision may change, or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll pass the Senate and go to the House, and then it will change. But I'm guessing there'll be some adjustments to this. But it's a fairly significant provision in the bill.
What do you think might change?
Well, I think they could exempt programs in the Group of 6 from this provision, allowing them to move up potentially, or they could just get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah.
They could just say, you know what, this section is sort of un-American. It goes against the American capitalism structure, and we're just going to get rid of it. There's some people that want that to happen. They could change a very small line in the provision, which actually prohibits Notre Dame or any independent, but there's only 2 of them, Notre Dame and UConn, from entering a power league. That's also in the provision. And certainly Notre Dame is not too excited about that. Even though they don't want to join a conference, they certainly wouldn't want that path to be blocked. So there's probably going to be some tweaks to this, but for now it's in there, and it's quite interesting and certainly significant.
Do you miss covering actual games?
Surprisingly, Matt, no, not as much as you think.
Okay.
It was 20 years of covering games, and I've still covered plenty of games in the fall. But hey, this is new and kind of fun for me, even though a lot of people think it's very boring.
Hey, I was at an event last night. It was a big fundraiser event. I won a live auction item. It was like 40 bottles of whiskey.
Wow.
I know.
40?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Wow.
It was a lot of whiskey.
Wow.
I don't know what
you think you can put that away in 40 days?
I'm sorry. Do you mean like drink it in 40 days?
Day.
Yeah. No, I would like to live.
Yeah.
What I'll probably do is just give a lot of it away, and which I already do.
I'll send you my address.
Well, I'm not mailing it to you, but if when you come down here to cover the Kiffin Circus, I'll hand off a few bottles to you.
Sounds good.
As a thank you for always coming on and talking about this boring stuff with us.
Mm-hmm. Anytime.
Thank you, Ross. We appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
I don't find it boring. I find all this stuff fascinating. That's Ross Dellenger. He's at Ross Dellenger if you want to give him a follow. We're brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Man, it was so cool to see last week the ribbon cutting at the new FMOL Health Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Institute. Man, it is going to be a beacon in the Gulf South as they continue to invest resources. I mean, over $500 million, I believe, is the number in new and upcoming projects in Baton Rouge, across Louisiana and Mississippi, their multi-state health system. We focus so much on the championship health partnership with LSU Athletics, and rightfully so. It's a massive partnership with 2 gigantic brands, a $5 billion health system, and one of the biggest brands in sports in the world in LSU. And so that's so massive. But it also helps the many different ways that the Lake and FMOL Health continue to expand healthcare throughout the region through, obviously, their teaching hospitals and then all the different ways that they give back, from primary care physicians to cancer and stroke and heart and pediatrics and everything. At the Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, where, my son Drew sees several specialists. Expanding healthcare throughout the region. It's FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, and LSU. Together, we roar. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks to Ross for being here. If you missed Will Guillory in hour one talking some NBA draft with us, talking some Pels, we had Zach von Rosenberg was here last hour. Zach's a guy who played college football until he was 30. So the new rule, would it would disallow someone like Zach. Like Zach would not have been able to come back and played at LSU after his baseball career. So a fascinating change that is upon us here in college athletics. You just heard Ross Dellenger as well. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. So book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Well, now I got a break. We come back. Jimmy will be here in about a dozen minutes for Otter Locks. When we come back, though, the NBA draft, day 2, round 2 is right around the bend. What is out there for New Orleans? What are some of these mock drafts saying about the Saints and about the Pels and what they might do at 58? We'll dive into it next on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can spell it all out. It's 91 degrees in Baton Rouge right now as we approach 6 o'clock. It's hot. It is going to stay hot. It's probably not going to get cool until like December. And sometimes even in December, it's hot. Your AC ain't going to get a break. It sits out there on the side of your house 24/7, 365. Heat, humidity, rain, dust, dander, bugs, mosquitoes, all of it never gets a break. Make sure that thing is cleaned and tuned up, running efficiently for the warm weather months. River City's 1 Hour Air can make that happen. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We are rolling along here in hour number 3. Get to Jimmy for Otter Locks in about 10 minutes from right now. Day 2 of the NBA draft will get started here shortly. It's 7 o'clock Central, so we're about an hour and 20 minutes away from the resumption of the draft. The Pelicans, who did not make a trade after it was much and oft discussed by basically everybody leading up to the draft. New Orleans wanted, as we learned, they wanted multiple first-round picks for either Herb Jones or Trey Murphy, and clearly there was no team in the NBA that was willing to bite on that. So New Orleans has the 58th pick. That's a pick via Detroit. For what it's worth, ESPN is mocking Milos Uzan, a senior from the University of Houston, to New Orleans at the 58th overall pick. We've seen a good bit of different names, but the thing about New Orleans is they have found success at times in round 2 and late in the draft. It's a rarity, right? Because you don't have guaranteed contracts in the second round of the draft, and typically guys are at best role players. You could find a draft and stash guy at the end of round 2. So, I don't know necessarily that you go into the second round thinking that you're going to find Draymond Green and a guy that's probably destined for the Hall of Fame. But can you find some asset that's going to help your roster improve? I don't know. I will be more intrigued to see, what New Orleans does with all the trade talk conversation a day ago or leading into round 1. Is there a player maybe still lingering at the top of round 2 that maybe they get aggressive to go get? That could be interesting. We know they need a center. That could be, are they looking for a big? Nate Ament was a guy that was talked about a good bit for New Orleans. It was mocked a lot with trades, with New Orleans going to get the 6'10" stretch 4 for Tennessee. So which direction do they go? I don't know. I think, whenever Jake Madison was with us earlier this week, we had Will Guillory in hour number 1 talk about it. The thing that's clear is you can't, if you're New Orleans, you just can't stand pat. You can't go, and I think they know this is evidenced by the fact that they are willing now and shown a willingness to shop Trey Murphy and Herb Jones and presumably Zion, anyone except the two young guys in Fears and Queen. But you can't go into next year without making changes to your roster, because the roster that you have presently won you 26 games. So again, I'm sitting here and I'm not gonna melt over the fact that they didn't get a deal done. I am more inclined to be encouraged by the fact that they look at the assets that they have, they put a valuation on Herb and on Trey Murphy, and they did not want to just give them away for what they presumed is pennies on the dollar. Now, the market ultimately is going to speak. There was not another NBA team willing to give you what you wanted for those players. So maybe you have to lower your asking price, or you just don't do a deal. Maybe that deal to be done is going to come in free agency later on in the summer and not through the draft. Clearly not through the draft after they didn't make a move. So now you reassess after the draft and see what options are out there, and maybe you go make your move then. So I'm willing to give them, I don't want to say the benefit of the doubt, because this organization has done nothing throughout its history to earn the benefit of the doubt from any of us with anything. But I'm willing to be patient with a new head coach and Joe Dumars into his second offseason to say, okay, the big change you're willing to make now, which is a deviation, is you are willing to move Trey or Herb. You're willing to do a deal. So let's see what that looks like. Now, if the fall rolls around and your roster is identical, you should be, and they likely will be, crushed, because they sat on their hands and effectively did nothing and said that the roster we have is good enough and we'll just keep developing this roster and you'll be a last place team again. Pick it in the lottery. Hopefully this time you have your pick. Top 10, protect your pick. Stupid. I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm saying that was stupid. Not the top 10, protect your pick. Otherwise, you'd have been picking in the top 10 yesterday instead of trying to trade back for the pick that you sent to Atlanta. All right, it's After Further Review. Brought by Evermore. EVA-MOR. Always have my Evermore with me. As a matter of fact, popped into the store earlier to a little gas station by the house. They carry Evermore. I love the 64-ounce bottles. They got 20, 32, and 64-ounce. You can get them individually. You can get them in packages. You can buy Evermore online. I got a message earlier today from a listener named Ray. Does AC work, and he said he sent me a photo of his bottle of Evermore in his truck. He said, hot attic AC work in Covington. What better way to hydrate than with Evermore? EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. Support a great local business, a Louisiana business, great tasting water, a healthier alternative. Check it out. It's Evermore, EVAMOR. Ask for it by name. That's Evermore. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. What a good show, man. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Thanks for spending part of your hump day with us. We always appreciate Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, our title sponsor every single Wednesday. We got our final break coming up. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight, so we'll do that next. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of selling your home, call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com, agent225.com. That's the website. Darren James, I mean, dude will have to buy a separate home just to list all of the amazing awards that he's won. But you'll understand whenever you work with Darren how and why he's been able to win these awards, because his ability to market a property is just so above and beyond, just like his customer service. I mean, there's a home that's about to be listed in Ascension Parish. Darren just shared on his social media. The video accompaniment is absolutely unreal. It's never just going to be the same still photos you see. Moving video, different ways, 3D models to accent your property and find a way to get your home sold for top dollar. So if you need to sell your home, you need the best. You need Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's up, Matthew? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I have no idea how we did yesterday, because I was so stunned.
We were loser. We're a small loser.
Good. I didn't play any of it because I was so stunned at my 9-leg parlay that hit. I forgot to make any of the bets yesterday. So
good for you. Good for you.
I guess I'm still floored by whatever happened there.
Well, I'm still trying to figure that one out as well. What a great event last night at LeBear's. That was well done, man, to Megan Clark and everybody, the Up Hearing Society, and they just put on a fantastic show. I was blown away. I really was. What a time. What a good time.
Hey, man, you didn't stay, though. Like, Better Than Ezra came out and played a show at the end.
I stayed for a little bit.
Okay.
I stayed for I stayed for a while. I like when they got into some of the other stuff too. It was good. It was good.
I stayed for the whole thing, Otter. It was a late night for your boy.
I was ready to go home.
I'm tired. I'm tired, dog.
Yeah,
I'm on
multiple
fumes.
bands, and in a great band. I thought it was a great touch too to have the staff from Rufino's serving last night as well. That was cool.
Awesome.
So well done, tastefully done, and man, it was a celebration of Rough and smiling upon us, man.
Yeah.
That was cool. Let's get to the picks tonight. Let's get started with Philly and Washington. When we're in a little bit of a slump here, we go with the Nationals over. Now, the first two of these games this series went under. Actually, one of the three went over. It's a 4-game set, but we're gonna take the Washington over. Aaron Nola I'm worried about him, man. Now, he's got multiple years left on his deal, but he's just not what he was before he suffered injuries for the first time in his career last time. Over Philadelphia and Washington, 9.5. Toronto minus 143 against Houston. Trey Yesavage. He is a good former East Carolina pitcher for Cliff Godwin, and he is still his numbers, still a little bit not like treated as some guys he's pitched is much better than. So while we still getting a little bit of value on him, we'll lay a soft number at home against an improving lineup like we talk about with Toronto. Milwaukee looking for a sweep at Cincinnati, minus 132 when I sent it to Hunt earlier. We talked about this team getting hot. They had the most wins in the month of May. June, they're right up there as well. So Milwaukee minus 132 at Cincinnati. And the game we got rained out, we won it earlier today with the Cubs. They scored 10 runs. We talked about their lineup heating up. They scored 10 today. They're looking for a doubleheader sweep against the Mets. So scored 10 in the first one. They're going against even lighter pitchers pitching for the disappointing Mets. They take the Cubbies even money on the road at Citi Field.
That's minus $1.14 now, just as a heads up.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, so the Phillies Nationals over, the Blue Jays, the Brewers, and the Cubbies. Those are your 4 Otter Locks tonight. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We're at Bally's, man. We're getting ready for World Cup. There'll be World Cup all day tomorrow. So at the Bally's Casino and their DraftKings Sportsbook.
Awesome, man. All right, good luck. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
All right, man. It's after further review. We are brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. With locations all over South Louisiana, name brand tires at wholesale prices. And, of course, they treat you like family over at Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Man, I tell you, if you need your oil change, you're about to hit the road for a family vacation, need your tires rotated, maybe it's time to buy new tires. Remember, at Shawbills, they're going to sell you the best tires on the road for the cheapest price possible. They guarantee it. It's part of the Charlie's Dozen. You buy tires at Shawbills, you find those same tires advertised cheaper somewhere else, they'll refund you 125% of the difference. It's that simple. It's Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, that is just about going to do it for us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. We'll be back tomorrow. We will be at Marucci for Thursday's. It's all right. We'll be at Marucci for Thursday. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be at Marucci for Thursday's AFR. Muso's at the beach, so Jordan's hanging out with us today. He'll be back tomorrow. Jordan, Paulie, appreciate it. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 for Thursday edition of AFR Live from Marucci in Baton Rouge.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, we remind you about South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. Just a couple weeks ago, went over there to South Point Volkswagen, got my new Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport. Black leather interior. Got the SEL, so it's a little bit more of the technology in there than the last one I had. But find whatever finishes and whatever you're looking for, whatever details that suit you and suit your budget. The bottom line with the Volkswagen is you know this. You're going to drive something that's stylish, fun, safe, and affordable. Check all the boxes. Maybe you're buying a vehicle for your child, first-time car driver. You want something that's affordable and safe. They want something stylish and fun to drive. Checks all the boxes. It's South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?